Now to the north of England, where a battle for survival is underway. On one side is this guy.
Attention, all visiting humanoids. This area is now under Dalek control. As subjects of the Dalek Empire, you are required to bring tributes for the Supreme Dalek, the Emperor.
Science fiction fans, of course, will recognize that as a Dalek, one of the mutant extraterrestrials from Doctor Who. But that isn't just any Dalek. That is the Allendalek, which stands outside the Museum of Classic Sci-Fi in Allendale in northeast England. Both the museum and the Allendalek are the work of a local art teacher by the name of Neil Cole. Mr. Cole says the Allendalek now faces extermination. And that is because the regional council has warned that the shed where it lives is out of keeping with the historic location. We reached Neil Cole at his home above the museum in Allendale, Northumberland.
Neil, how is your Dalek dealing with all this stress?
My Dalek, he's a little bit. He's glad he's in his shed at the minute. Although he has lots of very, very friendly passers-by. He's a very well-loved Dalek for a universal dictator. He's actually pretty good. He knows the villagers are out to protect him.
Now, for people who have never met your Allendalek, or for that matter, any cyborg alien, what would they actually see as they approach the museum?
As they approach the museum, you'd see a Georgian townhouse. And then if you look down, just at the ground floor, just beside the stone steps, you'd see a small wooden shed. Most of the time it would be closed, but if it was open, you'd see inside a rather wonderful silver robotic creature, I guess, with an eye stalk. They don't have any legs, and it's an iconic British sci-fi design. It's got a sort of nostalgia about it. There's something very attractive in a strange kind of way about a Dalek.
And of course, it's Doctor Who's arch nemesis. In fact, the arch nemesis for all of us humanoids, isn't it? I mean, this is what the Dalek is. Really quite an extraordinary character. In this country, too, people watch Doctor Who.
And they're really just quite a simple thing. They're based around a man in a chair because they were very, very revolutionary at the time when they came out because you couldn't see the feet. And then you put that voice and this rather unusual shape and this incredible voice, and you get a really, it is a sci-fi icon.
Very sinister. Okay, now what is the regional council of Allendale? Is their problem is that they are afraid of having a cyborg alien in their neighborhood, or what's the deal here?
I think what it is initially it's what we would call a little bit of perhaps snobbishness about science fiction. I have built a very, very detailed science fiction museum in a cellar of my listed building. Listed means protected over here. And I think one of the residents particularly did not like the idea that a Dalek or science fiction was going to be in this old house. Had it been like a bad waxwork of Emily Bronte sort of stuffed into the shed, they might have liked it. But it's such a popular thing, as you know. I mean, like Marvel at the minute is massive, and science fiction is just huge. And I knew we're in a remote little area, we're very near the Roman wall. We need to get people in to keep our settlement going, to keep people coming to Allendale. It's a beautiful place, but most people haven't heard of it. And science fiction is a great thing for attracting people in. And it attracts lovely, science fiction fans. They're great. It's nice. They're families, film buffs, book readers. It's not like a riotous rabble. But this person complained, and even though the rest of the village has built Daleks in protest, if you'd come in this a few months ago, you'd have come around a village where literally it was Daleks everywhere. The local school, that drew Daleks on the yard. There was people dressed up as Daleks, people cooking Dalek dinners and Dalek dishes and putting them on the Save the Dalek page on Facebook. It was absolutely incredible. I mean, for me, it was amazing because we felt, my wife and I were a bit down because we put all this time, 5 years into building this little museum. And to see the village pull like that was incredible. But
in fact, when you mentioned the children, it was local children who actually helped you make the Dalek in the first place, right?
Yeah, I'm an art teacher now. I've taught for 20 years, and I've run a Doctor Who club for 20 years. And that Doctor Who club, we build things, and we built a couple of Daleks. Because they're quite magical, as I say, and then you build one full size. I remember we took the first one down into the school dinner hall. We put somebody in it, and it drove down through the school dinner hall, and it stopped dinner, dead, this Dalek moving through. And this Dalek here is the last one we made at school. We just didn't have room at school anymore. And I thought, brilliant, we'll put him outside here. What a great thing. and it's just fun. You know, adults, children just love it.
But now you've built a shed to hold the Dalek, and so is it because you have an alien, or is it because of your shed?
No, I'll tell you what it is. I think on the one hand, the complaint would have never been made if if it had been an Emily Bronte waxwork stuck in with Wuthering Heights or whatever. But they basically said the shed itself is not in keeping with a Georgian row of houses. But it's not a tidy row of houses that we live in. It's very much a working village. And the irony is they can't stop us having the Dalek outside. But, you know, we have to keep it safe. And when we put a tarpaulin over it, it just looked horrible. So we thought for everybody, our neighbours, we thought, oh, that just looks tatty, you know. So we'll build a really neat little shed. And that's what they're complaining about. And it's boggling because in Britain at the minute we're having, finances are tight. My son is autistic and had a bit of a fright with him last year, and we took him to hospital, or tried to, because he was having difficulty breathing, and the hospital emergency service had been shut in our nearest hospital, and we had to travel miles away. And there's lots of cuts going on, and one of the things I think's annoyed people is how it is that this local council can spend all this money chasing up a Dalek in a shed when hospital emergency services are shutting, and all these important things are going by, and yet they seem to have picked on me and this shed, and yet we've brought in 1,400 visitors to our little village since October. Believe you me, where we are, it's quite something.
Now, of course, you know very well that the Dalek demands total conformity to its will. So is anyone comparing the town council? Is there an irony that has not been lost here?
It is quite amusing that they're being so heavy-handed against the Dalek. There's sort of an irony in there, and it is quite funny and absurd. I mean, here I am talking to you and to Canada, which is fantastic. I mean, thank you for having me and listening to me. It's incredible. I would never have had these sort of opportunities. But ultimately, I just want to get on and run my museum, really.
Well, you probably attracted far more people to the Allendalek than the council could have imagined. So,
yes, I think it has absolutely blown up. There's even talk of a feature film being made about it at the minute, which you can imagine with the villagers all rallying, building Daleks out of saucepans and goodness knows what. My wife and I, Lisa, we didn't ask for any of this publicity at all. It just started off when the county council sent us a pretty short letter saying they were going to remove the Dalek in a couple of weeks, and we just posted it online saying, does anybody know help, anybody got any advice? And that was that. It suddenly went whoosh. Great. Incredible, really.
Great story, worthy of Doctor Who. And Neil, it's good to talk to you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks very much.
Bye.
Bye now.
Neil Cole is the owner-operator of the Museum of Classic Sci-Fi on Allendale, England, and that is where we reached him.